We're back for our first episode of 2021.
We're here to state our goals and let the universe know what we want.
And we're not taking no for an answer.
It's time to talk about where our businesses and the podcast are headed in the new year.
Let's go!
Hi, I'm Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Shaun of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
Turned internet friends.
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot.
Or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club. Hi, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
It's a new year.
New year, same shit.
New year, new me.
It's the same me over here.
It's totally the same me.
It's totally
It's the same us. Welcome back, though. It's been a min.
Y'all, happy 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you were safe. We hope you're optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you drank yourselves into oblivion.
Yeah, we are
alone.
just on the other side of 2021 as we record this. And yeah, already starting with a bang, literally.
I was really stoked to come back to work after having a few weeks off.
I definitely was. I was stoked to shoo my family away out of my house again because this is my space during the week.
I don't care where you go, it just can't be here.
Just can't stay here, guys. Yeah, I'm a 7, so I'm the eternal optimist and love a fresh start.
There's something in like the idea of casting things away for a while, which is nice to be just like to punctuate something with a new year. I'm not big on resolutions.
Right.
I don't know if you do the whole like
not resolutions.
It's not my
but
thing.
I try to set goals more even just so that I can take the time to sit and listen to my own thoughts and what isn't working and just at least just write them down or saying them out loud. I find helpful.
Yeah. Let's manifest that stuff into reality.
Definitely, because if you don't ever state it, then you don't sometimes even know what you're trying to do. Like, I'm not here just to tread water through my whole life, so.
Oh my God, no. Also, I'm in the like, nothing matters, just be happy.
Oh.
Like, I don't want, that's like maybe not the impetus of this episode, but yeah, like part of this is like, if the world is going to be chaos and things are going to be all over the place and whatever, like, let's just make sure that at the end of whatever does happen, I'm happy still. Because that's what really is going to matter through this is I just need to be happy. Even if I am locked at home, even if Los Angeles is burning all around me.
Yeah, and I sometimes, like, I have a hard time defining happy, but I think it's just not being unhappy. Like neutral.
Okay.
Well, neutral can be fine as long as you're not high anxiety and stress and you're in a disruption with your family or whatever. Like,
yeah, happiness isn't like constant exuberance.
Smiling,
like, that's not,
Yeah.
Or just
but contentment can be happiness for
I'm with that.
Of time. I can't be content all the time because I just can't.
You're not
live like
content
that,
with being content?
No, I'm not. But it's nice to recognize that sometimes content is okay. Especially when we come out of really shitty times and you're like, okay, just give me status quo, please.
Yeah, if we could just get whatever normality was again.
Or it's like when you're sick and you're like, oh my God, I just took for granted what it felt like not being sick. Like you don't notice, like right now,
how crappy it was having a cold.
Yeah, or like you don't notice that you're not like right now I'm not sick, but if I got food poisoning, let's say, you would just really just want that neutral.
Yeah, you would want the like regular times back. I think that's a good place to look at fizzles and sizzles to kick off the year. I will jump in. So here's my fizzle. Let's like really make a note of where we are in time. Healthcare workers are starting to get vaccinated, but it's a mess out there. And I have healthcare workers in my family, my husband included, my sister-in-law. Everybody's starting to figure out their strategies and what's going on. But it's kind of freaky that not like they all have to figure out, all these hospitals and medical groups and everybody have kind of been thrown to the wolves of like, there's not a lot of government guidance. There's no preset process. There's nothing out there. So they're all having to figure this out. And
there's no way to share information or data, like, so everybody's
right. There's all
doing
these
it.
limits on what they can do and how, and it's just been like, wow, for a whole year, like the government really has not been helping the end user, which is going to be like distributors, figure out how they're going to do this. And it's like, we literally had a whole year to figure this out. We've known, and there isn't. So if all of you are like, oh, look, I'm seeing people getting vaccinated on TV, I'm going to get mine in a month. Like, no, like for me and you, well, I don't know about whatever. We don't have to get into health, but essentially I will probably be towards the end because I don't have I don't have complicating health conditions. I don't have anything that's going to like force me to a front of a line. I'm not in the target groups,
or unless you just happen to have the situation where there's an abundance of supply and they offer it to you, which is just going to be like kind of a crapshoot.
Right. Like you don't know when that will be. They could just call, they could start sending out emails or blast alerts to patients saying, we have doses that have to get used today, first come, first serve. And it's like, that's not a strategy. So patients, confusion, being okay with not knowing, which is really hard for a lot of people. And it's hard for me, like the energy of knowing something is coming, but not knowing anything about it.
I'm just staying in the, like, it's still 2020 in my mind. Like,
we don't know. There is no vaccine.
Kind of like,
I'll be pleasantly surprised when it does show up. When my doctor's office emails me and says, make your appointment to come in, then I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Even if we got it tomorrow, it doesn't change anything. So,
oh my God, no, I still can't go to like my friend's jacuzzi and hang out with them because they're not going to be vaccinated. Right. Like that's the other thing is if I'm vaccinated and like granted, like we're in what people would say, I don't know how the definitions for essential, whatever, but essential industry working with construction, that doesn't mean anything. Like I have tons of friends and family who are still at home, working from home, who are not considered essential, who aren't going to get a vaccine till maybe the summertime, potentially. Like,
hopefully.
Yeah, if we're lucky, they get it together with supply. There's still not enough supply, but okay, like everyone get happy because they saw some nurses getting vaccinated on TV. Like it's good, but let's not get too excited because, you know, there's hundreds of millions of Americans to vaccinate and we've never done this before. So, the more you know.
It's really uplifting.
Okay, well, that's okay. In reality. Back to something really important. My sizzle, I got an iPad Pro.
You did? You didn't tell me that.
I did.
Spoiler alert.
Have been dreaming. I know, bury the lead. I've been dreaming for a while. I have had a few meetings where I've really, really wished for one, particularly when I want to take a photo and then be able to sketch on top of it
Best.
during
Mhm.
consults. And honestly, the photo quality is really great. It's awesome to see things
And
on
then
a
you could look
large
like an
scale.
old man, like taking pictures with your iPad.
At Disneyland. Like, get together, smile. Like, oh God. But
No,
yeah, I need
you have a pen? You have the pencil?
yeah, I
Is it
have the pen. So I'm open to having recommendations for software programs.
Do you have a note software that you like or are using yet?
I mean, I just use like the Apple Note thing.
Oh no.
Do you have a
Girl.
recommendation?
Yeah, because I of course used one that didn't work in the end. Last year I used one and now I've moved to Good Notes.
Good Notes. I'll give it a looky loo.
And I also added, I get really geeky about this stuff, but I don't like the way I don't like the way the pencil is on the screen. It's too slippery. Like I like a toothy paper.
Oh, so you have like
So
a screen protector?
I got this screen thing called I'll link it in show notes. I don't know what I just did with it.
I mean, I'm here for all of the stuff.
Paper-like, I think it's called. And it helps a little bit not be so slippery.
Yeah.
But
does it make the screen matte too, so you have less glare? Mm-hmm. That's perfect. Yeah.
And I was using Note Shelf because they have a pencil, which I like a grainy pencil. I like a digital pencil.
Like like when you draw, you don't want it to just be like a marker line. You want it to have some spirit to it.
Good Notes doesn't have that.
Yeah. And
it does other things that are better. So anyway, and it's easier.
It's a write-off.
It's totally a write-off.
It's a write-off. That was a reward to myself, was something I've wanted, something I can use for my business, something that my business can invest in. And I feel like I'm here for the professionalism of when I'm at consults, to be able to jot things down, like gather information quickly. It's different than taking my laptop to something.
The functionality of a pen on a document, a PDF or a photo, is life-changing for our business.
Yeah.
Our work.
Yeah.
I use it sometimes, even when I'm at my desk, I use it because it's just easier than going into Photoshop. And
yeah, I think that's what I'm here for, is I don't always need something
stuff out.
Yeah, I don't need like photorealistic on everything. I don't need perfect on everything. But if I'm shop drawing something for the contractor, like I want to be able to just like quickly illustrate what I'm talking about, and I'm not scribbling on a napkin. Like then I can email the photo and
it's saved, and it's not like a piece of paper that's just gonna disappear in my life, which
will inevitably happen. So that's my sizzle. I don't think it quite balances out vaccines, but okay.
Sure. Well, you'll have something to play with while you wait.
Yeah.
Awesome. My fizzle, there's definitely a lot of heavy stuff happening in the world right now. But I'm not going to get specific.
I'm not here for that.
No, I am here for that. But it's also, I'm not going to go there right now. So
okay. Right.
But I do feel like, and we'll get into this more in the episode, with our 2021 goals, you and I have been talking a lot about what we're trying to move into. And I do feel like the universe is testing me on that stuff. I keep having little things coming up. I think recognizing it is the first step.
Acknowledging you have a problem.
Acknowledging that you have a problem and the universe is fucking with you. But yeah, because then when you recognize that the universe is testing you on certain things, then you're like, I am going into this decision willingly. And
like it didn't just happen to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're making a choice. And then you can make a different choice next time. hopefully. So
Please, yes.
so I think that's happening to all of us, like just clients coming with their requests that isn't where we want to be in 2021. No. So navigating that is just a challenge, and it definitely gets personal, like not personal, emotional. Like self-worth comes up, and being less than or enough, or having values and boundaries, like all of that. It's sticky.
There's something about doing something that you didn't want to or knew you shouldn't do that really makes you feel like crap.
Like a real dumbass.
Like, I don't know, it just really can weigh on you. If you're like, I knew I shouldn't have done that, versus when you're like, oh man, looking back, I mean, there's something different when you look back at it and you have the regrets and you're like, well, I learned something. But when you're going into it knowing you shouldn't, really, it's like shame on me kind of thing, because I'm like, damn,
yeah, like
I knew better and I still did it. And
like we're not in our 20s anymore. Yeah, we can't
definitely
just date the hot dude that's bad news. Like it's just not worth it anymore.
It's going to be so much heartache and pain and resentment.
Yeah, it's kind of fun while it lasts sometimes, but in these cases, it's not really fun. So
yeah, this isn't the hot guy who rides a motorcycle we're talking about. This is the project that can mess up your will to live.
You're the best.
Working out is overrated, okay?
Well, okay. I'll send you pictures.
We can't all have abs, all right? Like
okay, so my sizzle is also kind of a good New Year's sizzle. I've been working on my office. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, isn't this the third time you've done this office?
Yeah,
but the first time and second time I was working with like things that I already had.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally like got rid of like a table that wasn't working, it wasn't fitting or being functional, and added to like my little workstation area. Ooh, and Shaun influenced me and I got a rug pad, a heated rug pad.
I'm telling everyone about those now.
That's just like my woo warmer life changer.
I think we talked about it. We might have talked about it before, but I will relink in the show notes, because it's so, you don't even need to buy the giant expensive 8x10 size one. You could buy, I think you bought a smaller like runner size, so it's less expensive.
It's like 3x5 or something, so it's just right under my desk.
Oh my god, and it radiates up.
Mm-hmm. Especially like I have these huge windows in my office, which are great, but it's definitely drafty. So
you've created like a pocket of warmth underneath you.
Yeah, I've got this cute little moment. Desmond loves it.
So good to put it in front of your sofa, like between your sofa and your coffee table. Like, oh,
I got a big one for our living room. We haven't done it yet, but
I mean, it is annoying to pick up like a heavy rug and move the pad and then plug it. But the programmable thermostat makes it so like it turns on before you get up, and it's already warmed up.
This little one doesn't have programmable, but I've had on a smart plug, so
perfect.
Loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it. I'm sizzling. My feet are sizzling.
Your new office is going to be more productive. You've really put a lot of focus. It will not happen overnight to like reorganize it all and make it work. And then your work style keeps changing. So it is adjusting like as you go.
Well, yeah.
Like if you added staff, if you added like employees again, then it would have to adjust again. Like it'll go through many iterations.
Which is when I first set it up, it was with that in mind. And then I'm like, I don't need this big ass table in here. It's just me. So
thanks, COVID.
It's just collecting things. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move into our goals and dreams.
Yeah, our 2021 goals. This is by no means comprehensive of like where we're at. We are not sharing like our personal goals for the year, or this is really focused like professionally.
It's an edited,
An abridged version. We want, I think the main thought was if we share a little bit about where we're at and we can encourage listeners to dream and to set goals bigger, there's a chance for them to also do it if they haven't done it already. But I don't know. I just feel like when you can check in on these things throughout the year, really provides a nice framework and an accountability. And
yeah, just writing it down, like I said earlier, just state the thing, like
what do you want?
Say you want it.
Or what do you need? Like it doesn't always have, goals don't always have to be wants. I feel like that gets put out a lot. It's almost like, well, what are you dreaming of? And it's like, wait, these don't have to be dreams. These can be like, I need X in my life. I need whatever it is. Like these don't have to just be aspirational. Like it would be nice if.
So you and I and our friend Claire, we had a meeting last week. We sat down and went through like a little document that I had found on like reflecting back on our 2020 and stating goals for 2021, but also making SMART goals, which is very specific. So I think we can probably link to that. But just so you know, like just saying, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, that's not
how
a goal because you have to say how you're going to do it and start breaking down like
and is it
steps.
actually achievable? Like, are you going to have to charge $1,000 an hour in order to get there? Or...
Right. And are you actively searching for new clients?
Yeah. Should we start with our own, or should we talk a little bit about
let's talk
what
about
we dream for? Like for the podcast, y'all, we have dreams. We had dreams when this started, but we've really been held back on some of them, but also we're cautiously optimistic about the year ahead. And one of the things we'd really love to do is see you at Market, like High Point. I think High Point's the one we keep going to of like, that's on the list. Vegas is great, but High Point we haven't been to. We'd love to be able to go to High Point in the fall if it's safe to do so, is sort of on the vision board.
For sure. It was on the vision board last year, but a lot of pivoting had to happen.
There was a lot of changes to those plans.
Yeah, so like I mean High Point neither of us have been for our businesses, but it seems like a really big trip for us to be able to set up some kind of in-person meetup with our hot young designers and
all of our hot young friends. And we've got some vendors that we like, and we talked about maybe being able to do a live show or like a live recording. Maybe not live broadcast doesn't work because this is published online, but to be able to do something live where we could take questions and interact and do it in person, not only with each other but with other guests or people, would be really cool.
So cool.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
Yeah, so lots wrapped up. Like a lot of our goals, I think, are kind of divided between can we travel and see people, including each other. So that's out of our control.
Yeah.
But we can still put it out there. Just might keep getting pushed. We are also, just to be on the up and up, we are also actively pursuing sponsorship. So we we'll have a couple coming up, which we're really excited about.
And we've talked about the show needing to be financially sustainable as a business model, not just from a creative standpoint and from a community standpoint, but that if we're going to invest in this, in Hot Young Designers Club, separate from our businesses.
It needs to invest in us back.
It needs to fill a couple buckets in return. And I think if we from the beginning have thought of this as a business, and as it's grown, we've been so happy to have.
It is actually a business now.
It is. And I think we just want to still be, we're really cognizant of, if we're bringing on sponsors, that they are contributors and authentic to our community and what we want, and that this is still like, this is our baby. So we're not gonna have like diet. I'm not gonna let my daughter date the motorcycle guy. I'm sorry. Like
and we're not gonna just have random sponsors that have nothing to do with us or a show or anything we believe in. So
essentially we're not gonna sell out.
Not yet. No, we're not.
We're not going to turn into corporate sellouts. We're not, that's not in our fantasy for the show.
No.
But it's going to be
Although we would like to sell out some kind of show or product or something.
Yeah. And I think that's also ties into other things.
That's a good segue, huh? I just like,
and we don't know, you guys, it's like we do this for a living or something. We also are looking ahead. There's a monumental effort that goes into creating them and making them valuable for all of you. But we are, again, intentionally putting things into the universe of developing workshops, webinars, or short courses, things that are achievable, that are easily executable. We don't want to overthink some of it, and we want to be able to grow and scale with all of you. So we've got some.
Well, we would just like, most importantly, we want to provide value. There's a lot of like online stuff and workshops, and some are good and some aren't.
Everyone's a coach. And then also, like, you buy stuff but don't know what you're getting, and then sometimes you're let down. We don't want to create that same experience for any of our hot young designers. We really want everyone to walk away feeling like, oh, this was worth it. Like, I don't want that energy, because we've experienced that in other investments. We don't want to be a source of that to other designers.
Right. And really, at the minimum, I think we can accomplish getting some merch out there. Like,
y'all want some hot young designer t-shirts?
Yeah, well, we've had people ask for it.
I know, we've had the not that hot, not that young. Some install day stuff for you and your teams.
I need that. We just want it for ourselves. We'll be our first customers for sure.
I mean, isn't that how it works though? When you work, like, people who own a clothing shop end up taking stuff for themselves. Like,
yeah.
But I want that.
I do too.
So if you want some hot young merchandise, the Hot Young Merchandise Club.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot. It's coming.
We've put a lot of ideas out there, and a lot of things were in their like incubator stage last year. And I think it's kind of a metaphor for what 2020 was. And now we're ready to move it into like birth and infancy in 2021.
Yeah, let's definitely stop the pregnancy on some of these items. It's been a long gestation period.
Oh my. Boy vey.
Ay, ay, ay. Hey, Shaun, have you signed up for the Hot Young Designers Club newsletter?
Oh, no.
Really? Is this you not wanting to clutter your inbox with a lot of excess junk?
No. Let me do it. Where do I need to go?
You need to go to hotyoungdesignersclub.com. Scroll down till you get to the subscribe button. You just pop in your email address and your name.
All right. I'm doing it right now. Is this going to be a bunch of spam?
It's not. It's actually not going to be anything until we actually get around to sending something. But we have big plans, and we want to be able to send surveys to get feedback from our audience. And maybe once in a while, a special surprise or a recap.
All right. I'm on it.
Thank you. Back to the show.
Should we get into our business goals?
Yeah.
Okay. We should just bounce it. Like you do one, I'll do one. Okay. It'll be cool. I promise.
Okay. So I'll start with, I have a minimum income goal that I really want to hit this year. I put them out there in the past couple years, but then I didn't do the work to really track it.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of goes back to the SMART goal thing. Sure, I want to make X amount of money, but then
How?
A, is that enough? And B, how? Yeah. And how do you know that you did it or are on track or any of those things? So I have created some spreadsheets for myself, as well as hired a bookkeeper and started using new software.
High five. Thank you, Jesus.
Woo, woo, woo.
I have been waiting for you to do that.
I know.
Part of it,
it was just a lot of committing to certain services and processes. Like, I'm committed to Studio Designer.
Yes.
And this bookkeeper uses it, so I feel really supported and excited. So I will also be tracking what I'm doing weekly and get a grip on it. Get a grip.
Good God, girl, get a grip. The 5 G's.
Those are all G's. Yeah.
I'm in the same zone. I didn't intentionally have it that our first two were aligned, but in that vein of what you're saying of minimum income goal, I, in the tracking, went back to the larger picture, which is where I kind of feel like you almost have to start with where you're at, which is, I have this income goal. How am I going to get it? And I tracked all the way back with like the entire revenue stream. So everything that comes in needs to start at X number in order for it to boil down after all my business expenses and everything else to be able to generate what for me, like what am I going to walk away with? So that's like your minimum income goal. And for me, I know it doesn't, and I don't know that we've talked too much on the pod about this, but for me, that minimum revenue goal that I want to be at is between 150,000 and 200,000. So that way, after all expenses, I can walk away with an income that's satisfying for me, but it's also in achievable categories. And I think we both broke it down into what are our revenue streams, where do we make money in our businesses, whether it's consults, hourly billing, or product. And I think that I know that that's not huge. That's not a huge number by what some designers would say, but to start off at a 6-figure or be firmly within a 6-figure revenue stream is a really solid place to be for me to be able to think about my life, my happiness, my
but also
contribution to my family.
Most of your projects are service-based and you're not doing super heavy product-based projects. Like you're not selling like whole house furniture installs.
No.
Which is what would bump that gross revenue number up.
Yeah. And that's and like you're saying,
because you could have like $1 million in revenue, but your markup is 10%. So you don't make anything to show for it. Right.
So like for me, that was part of this was it's a shift. Like, okay, how am I going to get that? It's a shift to the way my business operates. It's a shift to the type of project. So that's,
so your numbers also like, based on how your business operates. Like if I wanted to sell a ton of furniture, my revenue goal might be higher to get my income goal met.
Exactly. And that's where part of this is breaking it down into what size project is that and how am I going to get it and how many of them do I need to do that? So think of that's part of the thought process of, okay, great. It's good to have a number, but what are you going to do to get to it?
Exactly. Okay, I am really uncomfortable with this one and it's so weird, but I'm going to I'm going to get published 3 times.
Yes.
Ideally it's client work. But I'm not putting any caveats on that. I have been published, mostly locally, but I never pitch myself. So I have a really hard time doing that, and it's totally a mental block. So it's also kind of a shit ton of work, but
no,
not shit
the
ton,
first few, but once you've got a process, like
yeah, no, it's true.
repeatable.
And then once you have a relationship, like that totally helps too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put a few projects out there and start rolling them out.
I don't find that I get a ton of traction. Well, I don't want to say that. People will say, "Oh, I think I saw a room you did on My Domain or in Rue." So it does help, but I feel like it's definitely not a vanity goal. Like it's not like I got published so I feel great. It does add a lot of credibility. Like clients see that and they notice those
They
things.
may not find, like, I don't think I will get found that way. Actually, I have in my local press, but it's more of a putting that on your website and having it just as a what's the word I'm trying to say? Credibility.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna totally, every bit makes a difference of like, oh, this is who I'm working with. Like I'm excited. Like other people in the industry find them reliable and the work they're doing is good and quality, and I'm here for that. 3 must be a magic number, because another goal for me was I have some projects that are in the pipeline that started at the end of last year that won't be finished until like middle of this year or maybe later. And my goal is to have 3 portfolio worthy projects photographed, or because 2020, it could still be a shit show out there, at least scheduled to photograph during this year. And I have the projects on deck to be able to get there. It's just making sure that the goal is to keep them on track, keep them where they need to be, stay focused on getting them out there, because last year was such a challenge to that. And I don't want to lose sight of it.
I know. And it feels, I have a couple projects that I need to go back to, and I really have to make myself handle it.
Yeah.
It's like
shoots are a lot of work.
It's a lot of work for us. It's a lot of work for the clients. Like to have to go back and make sure their house is in order, get out of there. Like they're not our client anymore. So
it can feel like a big
ask. Yeah, it feels like a big ask.
Yeah. So that's kind of my keep these projects that I have really in that portfolio worthy vein of these are things I want to do more of, and really focus on getting them photographed, being there for them, getting them out into the universe. Whether they're published or not, that's not my big thing. It's just really being able to put my best work forward.
Yes. I'm into it.
I'm here for it.
This one is really the number one because it helps with everything else. I need to rely on outside help.
Preach.
This is really hard for me to do. I have a personal issue with asking for help. I am the oldest child. I am the Virgo. I kind of always relied on myself to just handle stuff. I never like to look like I don't know what I'm doing. So, although I always look like I don't know what I'm doing.
No. It's a mom thing too, to not ask for help.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a
sign of weakness to get help, but it's not.
It's also like I see it as like a pattern in my family, like my was just a sad, weird story, but like my grandfather literally was having an active heart attack, drove himself to the hospital, parked his own car,
Walked
tried to walk
in.
into the ER. It's like that mentality. So
Grr.
I mean,
That's
I'm
a
not gonna do
journey. Like,
yeah.
yeah, let's not do that. Let's get help.
Let's call the ambulance. But
Jeez.
so yeah, so I'm starting with, I guess my SMART goals for that were to have 2 calls with virtual assistant options
Perfect.
to interview. I had one. And I'm starting with outsourcing plans and drawings because that's just the easiest without like having to communicate process and
Yeah.
over explaining. So
Like that's a real like packaged type of thing of it doesn't require more work on your part to do it.
And I just get like give a mouse a cookie with this kind of stuff. Like, oh, well, if I hire them, then I got to make sure all of my processes are streamlined and I have like a document that outlines the way I do every single thing and all the emails I've ever written. Like,
no
goals, I would love all that, but
yeah,
it's not happening until I get help. So
these can be piecemealed. Like you can legit chunk off. Here is a standalone task, or here is a group of tasks that my virtual assistant can do, and here's a group of things that the what do you call the companies who I have a draftsman that I work with to create drawings and plans. He's actually an architect, but he gets that stuff done because I'm only one person and I need more. Like I've been telling you separately, like I'm building a list of companies I can work with because they're all freaking busy right now in greater LA. They're great. They're everywhere. They're busy all over the country. And I need a few people to source from instead of like my one preferred local person that I've worked with on a handful of projects. I need more of them because now it's just so busy.
And it's just that like getting started thing is so hard, like with any kind of professional assistance, like even if it's like a therapist, like hiring like finding the therapist is the hardest part.
Giving them the backstory.
Getting started, and then you just show up. So
yeah.
Yeah, so kind of like developing a rapport and trust and just going from there. So I feel really excited about that and ready.
That sounds like excitement in your voice. Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah.
There are things that, like, I think I was talking to Claire about this, that I get like or maybe it was you, but I get emotional, like bottlenecks with things like, oh, I think we were talking about it, like, i.e., I gotta email this vendor to find out what's up with my order because the back order keeps getting pushed. I have a really bad feeling about it, that they're going to give me bad news again. And I'm going to have to tell the client times 10 things. And it's just not getting done. So like an assistant
like you avoid the bad news.
Yeah. And because it's not being shipped. So I know. And so it's not happening.
So let the assistant do that?
Let the assistant do it because they don't get all.
They're not invested emotionally in that.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for that. Like take the emotion out of it. And if you need someone to help you do it, done. Like, and the goal would be hopefully the work that they do can be done at a lower rate than your rate. And if you need to mark up or bill, higher to be able to accommodate that service, you still end up covering everything. You're not going out of pocket for that.
Yeah, it's like I can upcharge their times directly, or if I can't, it's also I can take on more work, which just increases volume. So
right, you're freed up to be able to do more of what you want to do. Let's do it. Speaking of getting more clients, it started as a vanity goal. Like when I started writing out the 2021 goal, it was like, I want to get to, 7,000 Instagram followers. But I also realized like, no, this isn't really a vanity goal because a large, like more than 75% of my inquiries are now coming via Instagram. Like that's where most people will say they found me or where they started discovering me more. So it's not really a vanity goal to be able to reach more people, but the part of that kind of builds on how am I getting there is I really 2020 threw us all for a loop. I didn't stick with a regular posting schedule. I got complacent. I had business coming in, but I have to be realistic that I need to keep on that stream all the time. I need to be always planning to keep the pipeline of new business filled. So I've committed to posting at least 5 times a week. Part of it is supplementing that with my blogging, which was a little bit disappointing in 2020, but we're not doing as much.
You did pretty good. You did more than I did.
I did okay, but I want to commit. I've committed to 2 blog posts per month. I'm not going to get crazy. I know some people are like minimum once a week. 2 a month is a stretch goal for me.
That's
like, let's be honest. Like, because I don't do like quick shorty blog posts. I really want to put a lot together and have some ideas in it. And so 2 a month is like, okay, that's good. If I end up higher, sweet. But 2 a month is great. And I also switched back my Instagram account. I tried for a couple months the creator profile versus business profile. Creator's nice. You get the music back in your profile and to use it for stories and stuff, but it wasn't allowing me to post automatically using Planoly. So I switched it back to business so I can auto post with Planoly, and I'm able to plan my Instagram posts in advance, get my hashtag packages automatically posting, and then I can dedicate 30 minutes or less to my engagement each day of like going on, reading comments, writing back to messages, because I don't want to be spending my whole day on Instagram. I need to be spending the better portion of my day billing hours to clients. So
yeah, and you can batch
right.
your posting.
You better work batch.
I hate that Sophie's choice of music versus auto post.
I mean, it was cool, but for me, it's less cool to not be able to schedule a post when I'm on Zoom presentations or talking to clients, and I'm like, oh shit, when I get off that call, I have to do my Instagram post. Is this the best time to post? It's like, oh girl, I
know.
I'm not here for that journey in 2021. So I bit the bullet, switched back.
It is nice that you can switch back and forth. I support your goal. I know you were kind of feeling like not maybe rebellious, but like annoyed at this idea of posting most days. I guess you were like questioning the value of it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you found the way that something that made sense. And I just have to say, if you don't post every day, it's like you're never going to grow.
You're shooting yourself in the foot by not doing it
for growth. You have to be clear on your goal.
Yeah. And for me, it's about like the whole thing we talked about. For those of you that go back, it's like a good affirmation is Anastasia Casey's episode from the Identity Collective. We interviewed her really early in the show. We'll link her episode in the show notes, but her strategies are like time tested. Like we know they work. We know they're valuable. And then she also has a good blog post that was created that has like an Instagram editorial calendar of like kind of a framework to follow if you're looking for posting ideas can be the most challenging, and it's good. So we'll link that too in the show notes because I just think it's a fantastic resource when you're like, okay, how do I get started? Let's rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, I concur.
So
Well, you got
2021 is
this.
going to be, it's not going to be the same shit show.
It's going to be a different shit show. Probably still a shit show, but just a different one, which, hey.
I'm actually, I mean it. I'm genuinely excited about the possibilities, the opportunities, the goals that we've set, the ideas that we have out there. And then also we've offline talked about some of our personal things that we want to achieve in the year. And I'm here to root everybody on, and I want that for all of us. So I mean, I would like to know what listeners are planning also.
Yeah.
And if something has helped you get there, like, hit us up, get at our email, get on our DMs.
Yes. Anymore, you can still set goals.
Oh,
and
for
if
sure.
You set goals that no longer serve you, like 2020, we kind of had to abandon some ideas. Pivot that bitch.
And that's okay. Like, okay, here's realistic. Yeah, if you missed a big chunk of January, guess what? January is normally kind of a slow period for stuff anyway. So your goals were probably going to be achieved a lot in like February and onward in our industry. It's like not a lot of people are seeking out as much in January. It's not
right.
a big
and
sense of urgency.
Your goals don't care what month it is.
Yeah. You're going to make it up in the summer. You're going to make it up in the fall. It's okay to, like, January can be a little bit of a wash if you didn't get your planning done at the end of last year. That's okay.
Right. Like my reading goal, I read about 20 books in the month of December because I wanted to hit my goal. And I read 0 in March and April, so whatever.
You just powered through at the end of the year. Like,
I did.
Bam, you still got it. You still got it.
I still got it.
Well,
you still got it. Well, welcome back, Carter.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. How do you even know what that is? You're too young to know.
I mean, we had TV Land.
I remember when it was actually
Welcome back, Mr. Cotter. Well, until next time.
Stay hot, designers. Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Shaun at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED. Meat of it isn't there anymore. Like, you don't want to just like have a bunch of little sides.
I don't want appetizers. When am I going to actually eat the freaking meal? Okay.
Like, I don't want a charcuterie dinner right now. I want to use a fork and a knife. Your word of your life.
No, 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 no.
That's okay.
That's my word of the year.
Okay. I'm not here to tell you no on your no.
I'm not here to yuck your no.
I'm not.